Where Shelley investigates ideas like liberty and tyranny in Prometheus Unbound, he does so feeling that it is the poet's duty to investigate the major topics of the day. He refers to poets as the unacknowledged legislators of the world. I'm going to discuss some of Shelley's major principles as he articulates them in an 1819 essay entitled A Defense of Poetry, which is a way of summing up some of the big ideas we've been discussing over the course of the semester. Shelley was a sworn atheist and a Platonist. He believes in big ideas like liberty and beauty, which are these great civilizing forces in Shelley's thought. He refers to poets using the word hierophant, a person who interprets obscurity for others. So we can see that Shelley attaches something like Blake does to the importance of the poet as a prophet, something Wordsworthian in that too. When we look at Shelley's poetics or theory of poetry, as well we can see deep consideration of his contemporaries, including Wordsworth and Coleridge, Mary Wollstonecraft and William Godwin, and of course his wife, the great Mary Shelley. Shelley says that poetry must be transformative or inventive. He writes, it transmutes all that it touches. He also says that poetry must delight. It turns all things to loveliness. It exalts the beauty of that which is most beautiful, and it adds beauty to that which is most deformed. Poetry causes us to think in new ways about familiar ideas, or to perceive hidden depths that had not previously occurred to us. Here, Shelley anticipates what recent critics have called defamiliarization, by which what is familiar to us is seen in a new light. There's something Wordsworthian in that as well, of course, the capacity to perceive transcendence in what is ostensibly ordinary. Shelley theorizes the act of poetic composition using an image which I really hope is known to you by now. He takes on the idea of the aeolian harp, but he adds his own twist to it. The poet is not simply impelled by this divine breeze, but must respond to it, harmonize with it by an internal adjustment. So the poet is not completely passive in Shelley's conception of the aeolian harp, and he solved a problem that Coleridge had. In Shelley's notion of the aeolian harp, the poet retains free will by responding to the breeze, as opposed to simply being directed by it. Prometheus Unbound is obviously political, but Shelley wrote much more explicitly political poetry, which was usually not published in his lifetime. It was censored. And in that, Shelley, like his romantic contemporaries, had a difficult relationship with the censorious atmosphere of Britain in his time. But a critical consensus would be that Shelley is at his most effective when he is less explicit, when he pursues ideals rather than dwelling too much on realities. William Hazlitt writes that Shelley's style is to poetry what astrology is to natural science, a passionate dream, a straining after impossibilities, a record of fond conjectures, a confused embodying of vague abstractions, a fever of the soul. We can see both the brilliance and perhaps why he was often referred to in his lifetime as Mad Shelley. And he had the decency to die young. Shelley drowned at the age of 29 in Italy, and with Byron and Keats would inform an almost mythical sense of tragically wasted romantic youthful talent. Shelley's dream of political reform, of liberty, is at the heart of Prometheus Unbound, but he also expresses it in the Ode to the West Wind, which is a good way to finish up, because it's so great, because the only way to answer Romanticism is with more Romanticism.
Make me thy lyre, even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own? The tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both a deep autumnal tone, sweet though in sadness. Be thou, spirit fierce, my spirit. Be thou me, impetuous one. Drive my dead thoughts over the universe like withered leaves to quicken a new birth. And by the incantation of this verse, scatter, as from an unextinguished hearth, ashes and sparks, my words among mankind. Be through my lips to unawakened earth the trumpet of a prophecy. O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind?